The Widow's Shadow. So yes, this I was told that this is inspired by a lot of German expressionist films, which made me very excited to want to play it. I have watched, I have watched a ton. I used to be really into German expressionism, so look out for that. For if you are a fan of those famous Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or Nosferatu or Metropolis and Fritz Lang films, look out for those things that are inspired by those films. Oh, and right off the bat, even the face. Death, in the end, it gets us all. It's an inevitability we're all aware of, yet we try hopelessly to ignore it. The war exposed us all to the fragility of life, leaving only carcasses of the people we once knew. Friends, family, lovers, gone forever. Even though the war ended a few years ago, its remnants are still felt. We tried to return to our lives, to blind ourselves to the final fate of all. But in the end, death gets us all. And for some, that ending arrives unexpectedly, much earlier than it should. I can't believe it. He's truly gone. I just visited his clinic last week and nothing was wrong. How could this happen? I'm like really feeling the sickly villager right now. Never before had I met someone as caring as him. He was so young too. May God bless his soul. It's true. He was the only one who actually took my illness seriously. Without him, I may as well be the one in that coffin. You know, I've been wondering about his death. Hush, his wife is coming this way. She actually... Keep your distance, I heard. Is that true? I knew something. The townspeople continue chattering behind me. I know they're discussing me, but their words grow distant as I look at the cadaver of my late husband. His face no longer shows any signs of life. His skin is pale as the moon above us. It seems cruel that the world has taken such a beloved man and left his worthless wife instead. How? Just how am I meant to go on? A tear slips down my cheek and onto the casket. Without him, I'm no one. I may as well vanish from existence. Oh dear. As the whispers around me dissipate, the funeral continues. Only 3 days have passed since the funeral. I have not left the house since then. It's not unusual. Rather, it was the norm even when my husband was still alive. After all, I had to take care of the chores around the house and prepare things for when he returned from work. Excuse me. There was barely any reason for me to go out. But now that he's no longer here, the silence in the room is more noticeable than ever. I still remember when I found his body, his hand slowly releasing its grasp from his shirt as he took his last breath. It was too late for me to do anything. Once more I was unhelpful, even when it mattered most. Everything afterwards is a blur, but his face is burned into my mind. Contorted in an expression I had never seen on him before, one of helplessness. I bring a hand to my chest. The air around me feels suffocating. It'd be good to get groceries. I'm running out of eggs already. Oh, hey, I think I'm running out of eggs already. A simple excuse to get out of the room. The afternoon sun is covered by a multitude of clouds, but that hasn't seemed to stop the townspeople from spending time outside. I can feel their eyes on me as soon as I exit the house, but I try to ignore them. Is that the doctor's wife? Oh my, it is her. It's rare to see her outside, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely, but don't stare at her too much. You would not believe the things I've heard. Oh, now I must know. A knot forms in my throat. No matter how much I try to block out their voices, they're too loud to ignore. I saw her at the funeral the other night. I'm sure I saw her hide a smile. Unbelievable. If I may, how did the doctor die again? Excuse me. They said heart failure, but you don't think she could have, you know. My body tenses upon hearing them, upon understanding what they mean. I bet she did. Frankly, I think she was just disappointed the war didn't take him away. She probably wanted to keep his money all to herself. Man, ugly, ugly, ugly talk. It's not true. Maybe she was getting tired of married life. From what I hear, it doesn't sound like she actually loved him at all. That's not true. I saw her husband looking very worried not too long ago. Do you think he expected this? Well, he was always going on about how he thought his wife was going to kill him. That's not true. Overwhelmed by the words that surround me, I hurry my pace, desiring nothing more than to get away. I run and run, the judgment in their voices still ringing in my ears. They think I killed him. I shouldn't have left the house, but it felt so painful to stay inside. Now, perhaps the whole world will be filled with suffering from me. I press on until I forget my destination, not paying attention to my surroundings anymore. Sound design in this game is so good. It's in. I hope you guys can hear it. It's in my headphones, and it's like left to right. You can hear footsteps, creaking, like wind, the grass like being blown. It's beautiful. I finally stop to catch my breath, my legs aching from the sudden exercise. These clothes are not made for running, nor are my shoes, nor is my body. Only once I regain my breath do I notice that the ground beneath my feet is no longer stone. I lift my head slightly and notice that in my panic, I've stumbled into a forest. Coughing fit. I don't remember there being any forest nearby. I turn around to try and retrace my steps back to where I came from, but I only see more trees behind me. This isn't good. How will I return home? Looking forward once more, I notice a clear path between the trees. I wonder if perhaps it could take me somewhere I can ask for directions. As I walk through the trees, a curious shape makes itself visible in the distance. A rather small building stands out at the end of the path. A house? Here, of all places? At the moment, approaching it seems like my best bet to find someone who can aid me. With light steps, as my legs still ache from before, I walk the path towards the house. It takes some time, but eventually I make it to the house. The building is unlike any other I've seen. Its walls and windows twist and turn in strange ways, never upright. And as I observe the place, I take notice of something unexpected. Quick aside here, like this is like a very German expressionist thing. I just kind of like point out, like I'm specifically thinking of Caligari, like the sets in a lot of German expressionist films, like they were structures that lean and twist in unusual angles, and sometimes like lights and shadows were painted onto the sets. So very cool. I like this. I like this reference, this touch. Okay, something unexpected. A group of people are having a lively chat just outside the house. There's an odd feeling inside me as I watch from close by. I have seen them before. They're people from town. What are they doing in a place like this? My eyes wander to a strange-looking man. Something about him is different from the rest. Oh, thank you so much for taking care of me, Doctor. I've been feeling so much better ever since I first visited you. Please, there's no need to thank me. I'm just glad I could be of help. If you feel any side effects from your new medicine, do let me know as soon as possible, all right? You're so humble, too. We are truly blessed to have you in this town. It is such a shame that you are already spoken for. I walk a bit closer to take a better look at them. Oh, first time Donnie Q. German expressionism? I thought it was just Rocco's Modern Life. That's an interesting comment. I suppose it could go either way. Rocco's Modern Life definitely, got that twisted buildings and sets. But, perhaps Rocco's Modern Life took more from German expressionism than we thought. And upon laying my eyes on the face of that strange individual, I finally recognize him. That's my husband. Ha ha! Oh, you're too kind. But don't let my wife hear that. But he died. How could he be here, standing in front of me? Although, that hair, it isn't anything he's had before. Could I be confusing him with someone else? But his face is identical. And they even mentioned he's a doctor. What's going on? If it isn't my darling wife. Wife? So it is him. But how can this be? Why are you making that face, love? Are you perhaps not happy to see me? Of course this is the greeting I get from you. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Sorry. I don't understand. This man who is supposedly my husband leans in and lowers his voice. You've always got your head in the clouds. Who knows what kind of crazy thoughts you're having right now? The least you could do is not embarrass me in front of my patients. What's going on? Should I be sorry? No, I haven't done anything. You're dead, guy. I haven't done anything. But I haven't done anything to... Aha. Oh, I'm not looking for excuses. I will give you another chance this time since I'm feeling generous. He really is just like him, despite the changes in his appearance. Yet, he shouldn't be here or anywhere else for that matter. Is this real? My gaze wanders from my husband to the strange house behind him. Everything around me seems uncanny. I must be going crazy. That seems likely, but let's find out more. I have no idea what's happening here. Perhaps I'm going mad, but I need to find out more. I face my husband, who seems to be awaiting an answer from me. But as I open my mouth to speak, his figure, as well as those of the villagers, disappears into thin air. How? I realize then that it's useless to ask anything of the empty air. My eyes fall upon the door once more. Perhaps inside I can learn what's truly happening here. I gather enough courage to knock. The door opens unexpectedly before my knuckles can even strike it once. Hello? A voice, echoing through the walls of the house, flows out the door. Come in, come in. I've been waiting for you. Waiting? A part of me is terrified, wondering what I'm getting myself into. And yet, despite this, I don't hesitate to take a step forward and enter the house. It's dark, only for a moment, before the inside of the house reveals itself. To my surprise, the space before me is much larger than it seems from the outside. Doctor Who? The walls extend far beyond what I would have imagined could fit within them. I take another step deeper inside, even as anxiety builds within me. There's no one around. Just where did that voice come from? As if triggered by my thoughts, the lights go out. Ah! Maybe that's not quite the reading. My eyes adapt to the darkness. At least there's still some light from the windows. At last, the devil is dead. A sudden voice calls out, the same as before, but this time so much clearer. There's an odd familiarity in that voice, one that I can't quite place. A shadow is cast on the steps coming from me, and its form begins to change. The lights turn on again, blinding me for just a second. And where the shadow was before, there is now a woman. At last you're here. I've been waiting for you for so long, oh, so long. We have to celebrate. Huh? Celebrate? Wait, who are you? There's something strange about this woman, not only in the way she dresses and in her mannerisms, but also in her voice. It sounds just like my own, exactly the same that I hear. Me? Oh, love, you haven't figured it out yet. I'm you. Huh? Don't be ridiculous. I'm me. You can't be me. Right? Ma, you're quite slow. How rude to myself. The woman in front of me raises her veil. I'm your shadow. What? Your face? It's just like mine. You're finally understanding. I'm the truest, most honest version of you there is. And are those horns that I have? How? It's like looking into a mirror. But even if we look the same, her attitude is nothing like mine. You may not have been aware, but I've been around for a long time. However, I'm getting quite tired of having to explain myself. Let's move on to the celebration, shall we? What celebration? Did you not hear me the first time? The death of that devil, of course. Or in clearer terms, the death of our husband. What? Oh, I've waited so long for that man to croak. How can you say that? Huh? Why do you look so sad? This is what you wanted, isn't it? You should be happy. Didn't you feel joy seeing life abandon his body? Seeing him lose his strength and keel over? Seeing him die because of you? Stop! How dare you say such things? I loved him. He was my husband. You do know that those things don't have to correlate, right? And implying I killed him, I'd never have done that. Things weren't always perfect, but that's normal in any relationship. Losing him hurt the whole town. It hurt me. I'm nothing like you. Ha. Ha ha. You're quite pathetic, aren't you? Fine, we can leave the festivities for later. Since you're having such a hard time accepting this, perhaps I'll give you a little more time. Behind me, the door slams shut. Don't even try. That door is locked tight. Oh, this is getting worse and worse. Why? It's much too early for you to leave. Feel free to explore the house. I'm sure you'll find plenty of interesting things in the shadows. See you later. With those words, the shadow vanishes from view, leaving me alone in this strange house. There's little choice on what to do next. I could just wait here, but perhaps I should do as she says, though the thought of what I might find frightens me. I take a deep breath, then head down the first hallway I see. Entering the windowless hallway, I notice how it stretches towards a never-ending void. Not a good sign. I turn to go back the way I came, only to see that the archway I entered through has vanished. Please, no. Hello? Are you still there, Shadow? As I call and scream for help, my voice is muted, sucked in by the darkness and lost to all but me. No, this can't be my tomb. The harrowing creak of a door opening in the far distance draws my attention. As I gaze upon what lies before me, the end of the hallway feels far, impossibly far, but it's also the only respite available. I guess I have no choice. With each step I take, the end seems to draw further and further away, and the door never comes into view. Huh? What's that? Something catches my eye up ahead. I rush over to get a better look. A large frame photo hangs on the wall, staring down at me. Craning my neck, I see two more further along the wall. Looking back to the photo before me, I see myself and him together on our wedding day, smiling. I still remember our vows. I promise to be your honest and faithful, loving wife for the rest of my days. I vow to dedicate myself to your happiness and success. My love for you is forever. It's comforting, remembering this moment in time when we were both happy. The happiness didn't last long. Our first big argument was that night after the reception. Not wanting to wallow in my memories of him, I move on to the next hanging frame. Where did you go? There you are. I found you. The next pictured silhouette stares down at me. My old friend from life before marriage. We'd known each other since our youth. Hide and seek was our favorite game to play in the woods behind our homes. She was always supportive of the things I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. If you say he's the one for you, then he's the one for you. I hope you'll be happy together. I wish you my love and all the best in your future. I hope you've been well, my friend. It's been so long since we last spoke. Nyasobu says, I have to go now, but it was fun to watch. And thank you again for playing our game. Thank you, Nyasobu, for giving us permission. I'm having a blast. I'll hit you up after this is done and drop you a link to the video. Thanks again. Take it easy. I often wonder where she is now. My memory fails to remind me of how and why our friendship ended. We were so close for so long. The cries of a baby pull me to the last frame photo. The closer I get, the louder the cries become. It's haunting. I look at the final photo and see a reminder of the nursery my husband and I had prepared only a couple of years ago. It was still early. I had yet to conceive, but we were nonetheless excited to welcome a new addition into our lives. I wish for a world where you could have joined me. Wanting to distract myself from my thoughts, I continue onwards. Light breaks through the darkness as I make it to a slightly open door at the end of the hallway. Finally, a way out. My darling, you've made ample headway. I hear my husband's voice seeping through from the next room. How is he here? Careful. If you progress too quickly, you won't have a reason to see me anymore. Is he talking to me? Before we were wed, he used to speak to me like this. It was charming. At least I found it so. That was when I was his patient. That's how we met, but this doesn't make sense. The woman's laughter echoes into the hallway. Of course he was speaking to someone else. He hasn't spoken to me that way in years. Doctor, you're too funny. There's a reason I come here so often. Well, maybe I can find another ailment to rid you of. Oh, well, maybe I can find another ailment to rid you of. I draw closer to the door, peering through its crack. Sure enough, I see my husband in the next room, his home office. At least, the man who claimed to be him. He draws near to the only other person in the room and leans over her, closer than any patient would be comfortable with. And yet, it's clear she's not moving away anytime soon. It won't be hard. I'm positive you'll find a multitude on further examination. She smiles seductively at him, encouraging him to continue. Was he like this with all his patients? And I just happened to be the first? What's going on? The quick disappearance of the woman surprises me, but only momentarily. The fact that I see my husband standing before me, or a version of him, shakes me much more. Darling, couldn't you see that I was with a patient? I told you before, when I'm working, you are not to enter my office. Whether this man is real or not, he certainly sounds like my husband. And that tone, his manner of speech, it's as if he's here with me again. I shouldn't jump to conclusions. Shouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? How could I not worry? He's right. This is part of his job. But how could I not worry upon finding him in a position as questionable as that? Who was that woman? I don't understand what's so unclear. She's a patient, nothing more. If you're worried because you were also my patient in the past, then you'll do well to remember that you're the one I married. I'm grateful he chose me. Exactly. I'm his wife. No, we don't mess with this. Once again, he's not wrong, but that is why these thoughts cross my mind. I'm his wife. Is this not how a wife would react? But now I question what sort of woman I've married. Look at the mess around the house. Have you done any cleaning at all today? Let's answer. I always do. I know how he'll respond, but I can't hold my tongue any longer. When my husband was alive, I always cleaned, every day. He just never cared enough to notice. You should spend less time eavesdropping and more time taking care of our home. I often wish there was a way to show him how much I did for us. I don't have time to oversee both my own work and that of my wife. Do you ever take into account how tired I am at the end of my day? It's a very common argument between married couples. I do. I always do. Well, if that's all, you may return to your daily tasks. You best get started considering how much you've been dilly-dallying. Even when I did finish all my work, he'd find more for me to do. He was never short of ways to keep me busy. Something continues to eat away at me. His words and their dismissive nature give me pause. That woman. I've seen her at our home before during his off hours. When he courted me, he was not married. But now, despite his marital status, she continues to return for his services, like a leech that's forever hungry for more. Thoughts race through my mind, churning as questions of my husband's faithlessness. Oh, faithfulness. That could be a Freudian slip on my part. Return to haunt me. Why did he not refuse her advances? Was he looking to replace me? Were his assurances of love riddled with lies? I look back at the woman in the mirror. Does she not see me standing here? Who? Your patient. She has returned. I see her in the mirror, seeking your attention. Why has she returned so soon? She was just here. He sighs and looks at the mirror, then back at me. A hint of annoyance taints his face. You mustn't be well, my dear. I don't know what you see, but the only people in the reflection are the two of us. I feel like I'm being gaslit a little bit. No, he's wrong. She's right there. Perhaps you're imagining things again. You know how prone you are to seeing and hearing things that aren't there. The woman in the mirror turns to stare at me. A wide smile creeps across her face, as if she has successfully lured my husband away. But she's right there. Can you really not see her? Stop your nonsense this instant. He waves me away, but I can't stop myself from looking at the woman. Her chilling smile and soulless eyes bore through me. She couldn't have been the only one. He takes note that I have not yet to depart. Oh, he takes note that I have yet to depart. How many times do I have to tell you that she is not here? You must see her too. Tell me she's real. There is no one. I shut my eyes tight, shielding myself. Upon opening my eyes, I see that she has disappeared. Even when she leaves, I know she'll come back, time and time again, just to see you. Of course she will. I'm her doctor. Is that where it stops? Quit making up stories in your head. If there's nothing going on, then why does she come by so often, even when you retire for the evening? The more I speak my mind, the more I feel myself shake. I know I need to power through. A memory surges through me. I think I felt this way before, but no more than once. She can't have so much ailing her that she can simply visit whenever she pleases. Drop it, now! Woman, can you not see that I am devoted to you? Who do you think I work so hard for, to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads? There is no one else I'm married to. I recoil at his outburst. His face turns monstrous, almost otherworldly, like my shadow. I can't bear to look at him. Do you not see how much I do you not see how much I do for us? And here you are, accusing me of outrageous things while you laze around, doing absolutely nothing. Though this is far from the first time he's raised his voice, I never expected to experience this again, let alone so soon. I thought I'd buried these feelings when I buried him. I hear him breathing heavily, seething through his teeth. After a moment, he clears his throat. I know that this is him attempting to regain composure. My dear, look at me. Slowly, I open my eyes. His regular expression is returned, softer than before. Come, let me help ease your mind. I take a step towards him, but stop when he reaches for his medicine cabinet. Come here. This is for you and your well-being. As I look at the medication that lies in his palm, I hesitate. My gaze returns to the mirror. Do we trust our husband? I feel like I'm missing a big part of the picture, like what's going on. Like, this is a weird house with infinite hallways, women appearing in mirrors. He's supposed to be dead. I don't know where I am. I'm not going to take these pills. Doesn't seem like a good idea. I know my mind is not failing me. I know what I saw. I stand my ground, making it known that I do not plan on ingesting any more of his medicine. How do I know these drugs aren't what caused me to see those supposed hallucinations? He continues to stare at me sternly. Finally, he shrugs and places the pills back in their bottle. You don't know what others in town say about you and your episodes. Administering these pills is my way of protecting you, darling. Try to understand the position you've put me in. Do you not see how you make me behave? What? Oh my God. Oh, I feel like I've just dove headfirst into an abusive relationship. I'm only this way when we're together. No one else pushes me to my limit quite like you. Well, I could not say anything. But I want to say, your behavior is your own responsibility, sir. You've changed. You weren't always like this. I'm only telling you these things because I love you. Why must you continue to question me? What I do, how I am? If you truly love me as much as I love you, you'd let me be. You'd trust me, just as I trust you to take care of our home in my absence. I love you as much as I trust you. We said that we love him earlier. Excuse me. I don't know. Why do we love him? I don't know what to choose here. They say that you can't choose who you love, but you can choose who you decide to be with. We can say that we love him. That's fine. But I do love you. And show me that you do. As it stands, I just don't see your feelings reflected in your actions. He raises the back of his hand to my forehead, checking for a fever. Content with his assessment, he steps back to look at me, up and down, scrutinizing me for more signs of illness. Could there be something subconsciously clouding your judgment towards me? This gives me pause. I think maybe he's right. Subconsciously, he's dead, and that is something. My doubts must have manifested into how I've been seeing and ultimately treating him. Is that true? I should have done better while he was with me. I don't know. I feel like I made a wrong choice here. I should have saved before making it, but I am reckless, reckless, reckless. He stares at me long and hard, unwavering in his gaze. Finally, he sighs and returns to the papers on his desk. If you have nothing left to say, leave me to my work. He waves me away without so much as a glance. As I head towards the door, he speaks one last time. Be sure to close the door on your way out. I don't need you interrupting me any more than you already have. Finding myself back in the hallway, I head in the only available direction left for me. I don't want to linger on the memories of recent events. The hallway feels much shorter than the first time I came through. Perhaps it stems from knowing the unknown. The framed photos from when I first traversed this endless hallway come back into view. I approach the first one. The nursery, never used. The crying doesn't haunt me as much as it did before. He always said it was my fault that he had never had someone to carry on his legacy. I guess he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Taking a step closer, I raise my hand to the photo. I'm glad I never had you. It saved you from having to experience this world. From having to experience him. Things always happen for a reason, and this was probably for the best. Best not to linger on what could have been. I continue to the next framed photo and look up at the woman before me. I'm sorry we've lost so much of our time together. I wish you were here with me now. Oh, I wish you were with me now to help pull me out of this place. You would have known what to do, what to say against him. I remember how strong-willed she was. Nothing could faze her. Not even my husband. Not that I think about it. Oh, now that I think about it, my husband never had anything good to say about her. She will only plague your thoughts with ideas unfit for a woman, let alone a wife. Her ideas were always grand, like traveling and exploring the world. Whoops. Wrong button. We go back. Back. I'm stuck in the menu. Oh, we can just save. Are these all auto saves? Oh, yes. We'll just do a save. Okay. I think part of this stems from using a Steam controller to navigate this. Okay. Have you not heard how the town speaks of her? Why do you think she continues to be unwed? She often said a man would only hold her back. You have to let her go at some point. Oh. You have to let her go at some point. She won't be with you forever. That's what I'm here for, to care for and protect you. He only protected me from seeing the world, and from the world seeing me. I chuckled to myself. Maybe when we grew apart, that's where she went, around the world, experiencing things I could only dream of. All on her own. The last words she spoke to me come trickling back. Come, my friend, we can travel the globe together, just the two of us, away from those who insist on dictating how we live our lives. wish I had followed you. Turning my back on my friend yet again, I do my best to continue. It's what she would have done. I stop at the last frame before me. The unhappy memories of my wedding night enter my mind. It wasn't long before the reception had ended. Our family and friends were still present at the venue. He had pulled me aside after following me into the restroom. Seething through his clenched teeth, he accused me of embarrassing him in front of our loved ones. That I had called his family cheap, that I was too materialistic, that I was unappreciative of what they had given. I had only pointed out that his parents' gifted bottle of wine still had its price tag tacked to the bottom. That was the first time I learned how little he cared to listen to anything I had to say. He simply continued to scold me, as if he was in love with hearing his own voice. If only I knew what I know now. The moment I turn away from the framed photo, the arch of the hallway exit appears before me, as if the house knows I'm ready to move on. I hurry through the archway as quickly as possible, leaving those memories behind for now. But somehow, I know this isn't the end of it. Why did that woman bring me here? What could she possibly have to gain from doing this to me? All that pain, all the guilt and resentment thrown back in my face like it was nothing. Why can't I just be left in peace? You really don't get it yet? Suddenly she appears before me again with that odd smile that doesn't look right on her face. My shadow. I'm doing this for you, my dear, so you can finally stop burying your head in the sand. You're beginning to see the light, but it's not enough. Oh no, it's not nearly enough yet. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Forcing me to relive the things I've been through, the things he did to me. Tell me something. If you really are me, why do you want to watch me suffer? Because, darling, your strength is my strength. The truth will set you free and all that, but it can't very well do that if you don't face it. And what truth is that? She lets out a giggle and taps the side of her face conspiratorially before vanishing once again, her voice still echoing in my ears. You'll see. And just like that, I'm alone again. But something is wrong. A deep rumbling reverberates beneath my feet, a shiver running up my spine. The air grows heavy and oppressive as though the walls are closing in around me. I look around wildly, but there's no sign of the danger that my body is sure is near. What is... And then I see them. Countless shapes pressing themselves against the windows. Some are familiar, some I've never seen before, but all their eyes are on me, rounding on me as if I'm a caged animal. Their whispers permeate the glass, low at first, but soon rising to furiously hurled curses, words I know all too well. Sure, I saw her hide a smile. Probably wanted to keep his money all to herself. Doesn't sound like she actually loved him at all. And one voice that I hear above all the others. Thought his wife was going to kill him. Stop. I begin to draw into myself, but they won't relent. They don't even seem to notice me there anymore, so wrapped up are they in their hatred. And could she even think that of him? What does she think she is? Oh, sorry, who does she think she is? Nothing without him, and she knew it. Stop! I open my mouth, but no sound comes out. The voices rise to a fever pitch, enraged shouts and howling taunts so loud they threaten to shatter the glass that holds them. I can barely even hear their words anymore. Greedy, ungrateful, faithless, murderer. Stop! A dead silence falls after my scream. The shadows all swivel to look at me in unison as though they're one body, one mind. But I don't care. You have no idea what you're talking about. None of you, not a single one of you knows what our marriage was really like. And why would you? You only ever saw what you wanted to see. If you knew the first thing about me, you'd know I would never do this. My eyes scan the writhing crowd, and suddenly there she is, the woman I saw with him. You had something with my husband, didn't you? She tilts her head at me with contempt. Yes, I did, and I'm not ashamed. He helped me through a hard time, but you just had to make it about you. Why shouldn't he and I comfort each other? You never gave him what he needed, even when he did everything for you. I did my best is not the appropriate answer here. He was never satisfied seems like it's more accurate. It wouldn't have mattered even if I gave him everything I had. Nothing I did was ever good enough for him, and to say that I drove him to you is nothing but an excuse. Keep telling yourself that. Something about her seems to deflate, and she melts away into the masses. I shake my head and find another shape in the crowd. Her, my oldest friend. But why are you here? I never did anything to you. Didn't you? The moment you married that man, you suddenly didn't have time for anyone else. I thought we'd always be friends, but you abandoned me. She bows her head sadly. Why did you do that to me? What did I do wrong? You were a bad influence. No, I was in a bad relationship. I'm sorry. He always told me you were a bad influence, and for a long time, I believed him. He must have hated how close we were. I think in the end, he just wanted me to himself. There's still time, you know. We could find each other again someday. Her body sags, as though a great weight has been lifted off her shoulders, and then she's gone. I squeeze my eyes shut. I can't think of that, not yet, so I find one more shape in the mob. You were his patient, his friend. You did everything together, and you never once saw him betray me. If he ever hid anything from, the husband's friend, okay. If he ever hid anything from you, it's because you were always so paranoid. You couldn't so much as be alone with someone without you biting his head off. He was a good man. He only ever wanted to help people. Why are you so hell-bent on denying that? You never gave me a chance. You enabled him. Yeah, I think, this game is hitting close to home in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I see in my adult life as a man, as a cisgendered man, is that men don't talk to each other. And because they don't talk to each other, we may have friends that are terrible to their spouses, they're terrible to other people, but they're not terrible to us. And we let them be. We don't talk because we don't talk. So I think we do enable each other that way. Of course. Why didn't I see it before? He kept you around because you always covered for him, and your friendship meant you never questioned him either. I wonder, did you even know what he was really doing on all those nights when he used you as an excuse to not come home? You got me all wrong. I never meant to. But the shameful shifting of his stance tells me all I need to know. He withdraws into himself and then vanishes into the crowd. That's quite enough, darling. It's the most familiar voice to me in the world, yet my heart jumps all the same. I resist my instinct to look away and follow his voice up to the top of the staircase to meet his eyes. But the figure that stands before me is no bigger than my husband, but the malice that radiates from his body seems to stretch all the way to the ceiling. No, even higher than that, to the sky. No matter how hard I focus, I can't seem to see him in any detail. It's like I'm staring at a blind spot in my vision, a spot of nothingness. He peers at me from a face enshrouded in darkness, his head tilted at an odd angle, as though his neck is broken. It looks nothing like it, but somehow I know it is. This really is getting tiresome. Don't you think it's time to drop this silly little charade? He takes a menacing step down the stairs, and I'm suddenly aware that I'm completely alone with him. But I refuse to relent. Not now. It's all you know how to do, isn't it? Treat my pain like an inconvenience every time I get too uppity. Shut me down over and over again until I don't see the point in getting up anymore. Well, call it whatever you want. This isn't a game, and I'm not playing. What a great line for a game. He draws in a breath, deep and shuddering like a death rattle, and it takes me a moment to realize that he's laughing. Such fire. Where was this backbone when we were married? Perhaps if you hadn't been so useless, I wouldn't have had to... No, you don't get to turn this around on me anymore. You never wanted a wife, you wanted a doll. A mindless little nothing, always at your beck and call, who never got angry or talked back, who never once questioned anything you did because the truth was so obvious that one look was all it took. One look to see that you were the pathetic one. His form bristles with a palpable anger, but I can't stop. The words keep flooding out of me, a torrent finally breaking through a dam. All your hatred, your sadness, your apathy, you are too much of a coward to face any of it. So instead you put it all on me. So desperate were you to feel like a man that you endlessly beat down on someone who you knew would never fight back. And you were perfectly willing to let the whole town think that I was the problem too, that I would even kill you. Well, congratulations. You were so convincing that it took you dying for me to see that you were never anything more than a broken, empty... I don't see him move, but in the blink of an eye, he's gone from the stairs to inches away from my face. Up close, his head is an ugly, writhing mass of shadows. His eyes a furious blaze. How dare you! I feel the air go out of my lungs. His very presence is so cold, so suffocating that being this close to him is like plunging into freezing water. I have lived horrors that you can't even begin to imagine. I was a hero. I earned my place in heaven 1,000 times over. And all I asked for in return was peace and quiet, a loving wife, a family. But you couldn't even give me that. Instead, you sat there day after day, moaning about how unfair it all was. Are you an idiot? I didn't have to give you the world. I chose to, and I can take it all away just as easily. The dark tendrils close around me and squeeze. Spots swim in my vision as I begin to fade. This is it. I can't even scream. I can only gasp for air that doesn't come. And then, somewhere in the quietest part of my mind, I hear her. Is that it? Come on, don't give up on me now. You feel it too, don't you? Why is he so desperate? He's afraid of you, of me, of us. Use it. Something in me flares to life and my hands shoot out of its own accord. Oh, and my hand shoots out of its own accord to seize him by the jaw, forcing him to look at me. Wind whips all around me, sending the tendrils shrinking back. For a moment, I see it in his eyes. Fear. I don't think so. He struggles against the force holding him in place, but it's no use. He spits out another hoarse laugh, teeth gnashing in fury. You really think you've won? It doesn't matter what happens here. You're nothing without me. You always will be. Nothing but my poor, wretched widow, who could never... My name is Hilda! Hey, we have a name. The wind rises to a fever pitch, threatening to engulf him entirely. But I don't let it yet. Not yet. Instead, I hold my shadow at bay as I pull him close. And you will never speak my name again. Because you're dead, and I'm not. Now go to hell where you belong. I plunge my other hand into his chest, where his heart should be, and twist. He gives a final enraged howl before the wind cuts him to ribbons. And where there was once a cloud of impenetrable darkness, there's just me. And her. Well, that was exciting. I can only give her a tired laugh in response. I know I have nothing to fear from her now. Somehow, it feels silly that I ever did. Not the celebration you were expecting? No. It was even better. So, what's next for us? I'm going to go home, take a bath, and get the best sleep I've had in years. And then we're going to live. Sounds like a plan. She vanishes, her echoing laugh reverberating in my own chest. I take a moment to breathe, slowly in, slowly out, before turning to leave. Golden sunlight streams in through the door that creaks open at my approach. I stop at the threshold, taking one last look at this strange house in the woods before stepping out into the fresh air. There's so much that went unsaid, so many words scarred over that I know won't heal overnight, but I have all the time in the world for that. For now, it's time to go home. The end. Yay! Well, that was intense. Incredible. A lot to unpack with that one. Well, a lot to unpack with both of these games, actually. I want to thank everybody that stopped by tonight. Thank you, Donnie Q, for stopping by and chatting us up a bit. Thank you to the developers that popped in the chat. Nyasobu, Ingfing. Really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you to my regular community who I know is there, and appreciate you guys' support as always. So once again, just to remind, the Spooktober VN Jam is where these games come from. They were made in a month, and they are currently, I think the contest is very close to ending. I believe it ends the end of this week. So it would be great help to the developers if you enjoyed watching the game, maybe to download it, play it, rate it. It will help them a lot for their success in the jam. I am going to try and stream 2 more games in the next 2 days from the Spooktober jams. Hopefully I will be feeling much better tomorrow, and my voice will not be as hoarse. We'll keep our slow trod towards being 100%. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you on the next one. Have a good night.